So this business application studio, we are trying to reach or connect to the ES5 system, which is a SAP provided gateway system where we have pre-delivered OData services, and using those OData services, we will be developing our UI ListReport application. So if let me go to my business application studio. Here we will be starting with the template. Let me choose this one, and come on, yeah, that was my mouse issue. And let me choose my SAP Fiori application. Okay, ListReport as a template. Go ahead. And here we have we will be having an option to choose the different options: connect to a system, connect to OData service, SAP API Business Hub. And this API Business Hub, I think we haven't seen this API Business Hub. This is another exploration area for us. So we will see that. So whereas it will have all the SAP delivered APIs, and we can go and look at those API structure and etc. And even if we have a productive version of BTP, then we can configure our test system and we can test those APIs then and there itself. It's a very great feature available. And the local cap project, and whenever we work cloud application programming model, we will have a separate directory called DB inside our project project structure, and we will be publishing some of the services using Node.js. So if we want to connect to any of those specific services within the project itself, then we will be choosing this one. And the metadata, so upload a metadata document. So this one we know. So I was telling that during OData development, if we have a metadata document, it will help other development platforms to understand what is what, and what is the entity, what is the entity set, and what is its particular type, and etc. And if we have metadata document, we can upload this one and we can go ahead and build the screens and application using the metadata itself without connecting to real data. But now in this case, we are going to connect to our ES5 system. So select connect to a system, and now then click next. Come on. Something happened. Let me go ahead again and choose the option. So ListReport, connected to a system. And now we have given with the available options, and here we should be able to see our systems that we have configured in our BTP destinations. It has to be in the same trial account, don't forget that. Okay, so if you configure your destinations in another trial account and coming here into the business application studio, not able to find, sometimes that mistake may happen. Please be careful about that. And if you go ahead and connect to ES5 system, and now it will show us all the list of OData services available in this particular system. If you see, these are all the OData services that are available in ES5 gateway system. So in this ES5, in the previous URL that have the demo OData services, demo services and etc. So if you look at that one, we get what is given with the read and write accesses. But in this case, we just go ahead and use SCPM. So these are all the demo services. So they won't be available in productive systems for your information, and they all just built for demonstration by SAP. So this one, sales order maintenance, for example, we take this sales order maintenance OData V2 service that SAP has provided for our ListReport application generation. And now sales order is going to be our main entity. And if we want to have any navigation from here, we can choose the navigation here itself. Otherwise, we can define this navigation whenever we go into the project. So sales order item is the navigation property. That's okay. So let me choose that one. And here, let me name this module name. So maintain, and sales order maintain, yes. So namespace, that's fine, and description, sales order maintenance, and I would like this to be in projects directory. That's okay, and this is also fine. And now let me add my deployment configuration as well. Deployment configuration, okay, that's fine. We will add that later, I think. And FLP configuration, and this FLP configuration, as we know that we have to provide the sales semantic object and action information. And if you choose the configure advanced option, we will see what theme we need to apply for our application, and we can choose the theme that what's dark or light or whatever. Okay, so if you say evening horizon, for example, add ESLint configuration, and this ESLint is the one which will help us to highlight in the project if we are writing a wrong syntax. Okay, so in that point of view, it will help us. That is called the ESLint, and even this ESLint is available in WebIDE as well. Okay, so if we want to configure this ESLint, and we can choose yes, and in the further steps, it's going to ask us how your errors should display. What kind of if it is an information message, how you want to represent or how you want to be notified about that information message, etc. Okay, so for now we're not going to do that. And also JavaScript code assist, like if you press control space and etc, and the library configuration, etc. So if you want any assistance, then we will have options about this JavaScript. We can configure those JavaScript assist libraries as well. So let's not do that at the moment. Let's go ahead. And here I'm going to give the semantic object for our application. Let me say Tara SO, for example. And action, I'm going to give maintain or manage. So manage is the action SAP usually use for all transactional applications. And I'm going to give the title, okay, or let me sales orders and maintain, and this is going to be my subtitle of the tile. So this is the tile configuration we have done at the moment. So let me finish it, and come on. Yeah, it is right now installing the dependencies, and also it's going to create the project for us. I see some project. Yes, so this is not in current workspace. Yeah, that is created. And now if you say open open the folder, it's going to open the project for us. And here we go. So maintain is the project that we have created, and it has been opened on our project explorer here. So if you see all these web app is the directory that has been created, and how we saw this structure in our web IDE, it's going to look like the same. And also if you see the annotations, and even the annotations have been added onto our project. Okay, so now if you see here the local service, the metadata, whatever the OData service that we have chosen from ES5 system, they all have been added onto this one. And also the I18N, the internationalization. So if we want to change any or app title, whatever we have configured, and also if you want to maintain the multiple languages and etc., so we can come here and maintain in the form of I18N files here. So now let me go ahead and in the manifest. So this is same, we have seen that. So this is the OData service that we are going to use, and the ListReport template, everything here. And let me go ahead and see. And if you see the variant management, everything has been added. And yes, so this is the main entity set, and the navigation entity set is going to be the two sales order item from that particular one, and its entity set is going to be this one. Okay, so if you see here, we have the flexible column layout auto configured in BAS for us. So mid column full screen, if we click on the navigation, and how it is going to mid column is going to be expanded. So let us see all these things. So I'm closing this manifest file, and if you right click on your web app folder, and you will see the preview of the application. And if you click on this one, and it opens the command to run, which command where we want to run here. If you see the client 002, and all this information will be displayed for us. But no FLP. So this is what is called web application. If you see here, start no FLP, and it directly goes and picks up the index.html file. If we deploy this application onto our backend system, and definitely it's not going to take the index.html file, and instead it's going to kick off the component.js file. But whenever we use the third party or BTP work zone, it is going to consider it as a web application, and it's going to start running from index.html. Okay, and also if we want to deliver this application as a web application, then it's going to be a URL based application. We will be sharing the URL of this application to the third party consumers. so that they will be integrating this application with that URL that we have provided. But for now, as we are going to integrate this with the Launchpad, it's going to start with the component.js file. So open the FLP sandbox Launchpad for me, and my application as a tile, and let it run these commands. And now the FLP Launchpad has been opened, and the theme, whatever we have selected during our FLP configuration, the same theme has been applied onto our application. Now the data is being loaded. If you see this, all the fields and the columns, everything has been picked up from the annotations of that particular OData service that we have chosen from the ES5 system. And if you click on go, and it's straight away going to bring the data for us. And so if we click on the line item 1, and it's going to display it's the line item for us. And we don't have anything left on this page. I'm not sure if this is how this particular OData service has been designed without line items, but definitely there might be line items. Not sure why that has been not coming through as a line items. So if you see here, we even have the create and delete options provided on this one, and also table is allowed for personalization here, the list report. So if you click on create, these are all the actions are enabled on the OData service itself. So the component, the internet, or so underlying system or component is not available. So maybe this functionality is not allowed by us, but there is a create button or create functionality enabled, but we might not be authorized, as it is a test system, ES5 system provided by SAP. So if we have an option, we could have created the entries and we could mess up the system. That might be the intention by SAP. Not sure about it. So, but our intention is okay. So we are able to generate application using using Business Application Studio, and there are wonderful features. Whereas we are hearing that low code, no code approaches. To support that one, we have a few guided activities available here. And now if you see, we have only create action, create button here. And if we want another button or another action right now, right before the create and etc. So in this case, we definitely need not to go to the CDS and develop it. So let me segregate it and do it. And if you right click on your web app folder, and right bottom here, you will see the open guided development here. So this is the terminology, whereas SAP presenting or promoting to say we have low code, no code approaches built onto the Business Application Studio. And these are all the possibilities available on this particular list report application. If you see the list report page, we are seeing the list report page at the moment. And further down, we have the object analytical list page. That's fine. So work list page. And we don't have a object page on this particular one, because let me pick up this. Where is this? So application, not this one. Okay. All guides. So if you click on all guides, it's not going to display all the guides that are available. But let us go with one guide first. So if you see the first one, add a custom action to a page using extensions. So in this case, if you look at this, our project structure here, okay, and we have annotations, IA18N, local service, test details. That's it. These are the directories, and rest are all the direct files here. But whenever we go and extend our Fiori application, it's going to create an extension to this particular application. Okay, so let me click on this one, add a custom action to a page. And if you see here, there are about section, step 1 and step 2. And what this particular guide is going to do for us. So if you want to maximize this, you can maximize it. And let me minimize this one as well. And description, we can use extension points to add custom actions onto the table toolbar. So wherever possible, there are the pictures also provided on this guides. Okay, so this is what we are trying to do at the moment. So we wanted this action onto our toolbar. So whereas we have create action at the moment, but we want another action just before the create button. Okay, so okay, that's correct. I want to do that as well. So let's, in that case, if we decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do, then start the guide. So if you start the guide, it will ask you to choose a few things and input few things. And if you do that, it's gonna create a button for us when we finish it. So where exactly you want this action? So that's what the first question is asking here. So page type, what is your page type? Where you want to create your action? So mine is not object page, it's going to be my list report page. Yes, so I need to create an action on list report. And function name, whenever we create an action, and like if it was in BOP of action, we would be giving class name and a method name for that. But there is no ABAP at this front end. This is completely at the client side. So in this case, JavaScript is the way how we handle the actions that we create. Okay, so in that case, we should be giving a function name. It's equivalent to the method name that we use in ABAP. The function name, let me give this function name like on custom action. On custom action is going to be my function name. So whenever I change it, if you see, this is going to reflect that information onto some code. Let's say this is generating some code. Yes, for sure. Okay, yes, fine, it is generating some code. So once it is done, once you have filled all these properties or the parameters that guide is asking us, so and there we have a little button called insert snippet. So yes, fine, that's good. Go ahead and insert this snippet for me. And now the guide is going and inserting this code snippet, and it will tell us where the code has been inserted, what code has been inserted. So this is the code. And if you see, there is a detailed path as well where this has been inserted. And if you see your left side, so there is ext directory has been created. So this is the extension that has been created. So in this way, this is also covering how we extend the standard applications as well. Even this is the same procedure if we want to extend SAP delivered applications as well. So in ext, and there is again controller directory, and inside the controller, the list report ext.controller.js has been created. JavaScript file has been created, and inside this file, a function has been created on custom action function. Okay, Fine. So step 1 has been done. Now, what is step 2? Let's go to step 2, click on next. And if you see here, action position, where do you want this action to be placed? And yeah, entity set, on which entity set you want this action. So for sure, we want this to be on sales order. This is the entity set that we are going to display on our home page, which is on the list report that we have chosen. So that's fine. Let me choose my sales orders entity set. This is the entity set, and new action position, where this action needs to be positioned. So don't forget that this global is going to be global area is going to be this one. Okay, this is going to be the global action, and this is going to be the table toolbar action. Okay, so now our intention is to create on table toolbar. Just select the table toolbar and the action ID. So what is your action ID? So this is going to create a ID that always better to write like ID, and if it is an action, right, add another A, action custom. Or if you have a specific purpose that this action is serving, then describe a little more about it. ID action. So in this case, I would just leave this as a custom button or custom action. And this is the button text, how you want to display your text. What is the text you want to display? So right now here, create is the text displayed on this button like this. What is the text that you want to display on your button? So in this case, I would say custom button. Okay, and here we have another option here, row selection. So this one we have learned in different way, that a static action or the dynamic action like that. So the dynamic or context requires context. Okay, the requires context will enable only if we choose any of the row on this table. If you see, the delete is not a static action, but whereas create is a static action. So this will be always available to click or perform anything, but whereas the requires context action definitely needs a row selection on this particular table. So I think we are not authorized to do this, so that's the reason these delete action is not enabled for us. But we have experienced this one when we were working on the Fiori elements BOPF based applications. So that is what this row selection is described here. So if we want, if that is the context dependent, then we say yes. Okay, enable my button only if user selects a particular row or any of the row in the table. Otherwise, don't enable this one. Okay. So for now, I'll just say a static button. And okay, so all our parameters has been selected here. That's fantastic. And if you come down and see, we have a code generated by the framework. Okay, the guide, whatever it is. So if we don't need to look at this code. Okay, but instead, with these parameters, if we select the right parameters and right values, they are all fine. Okay, so we can straight away go ahead and use the insert snippet. If you insert snippet, and it's going to insert certain code into some place, and immediately it opens the place where the code has been inserted. So in this case, the code has been inserted in manifest.json file. Okay, So let me close this one and let's go to the manifest.json file. And in the manifest.json file, if you see the actions has been added under this entity set. So this is the entity set that we have chosen, and under this we have this actions, and this is the ID that we have given, which should be a unique ID, across the application. So we have what is the text, and on press what has to happen, and required selection false. So if we understand this one for future enhancements or future configurations, so for example, if we want to make it a select context dependent, then we can straight away come here and make it as true. Automatically it will be converted as context dependent button. Okay, so that's perfect. So now we have this application. It is already running for us, so we haven't stopped this one on this particular terminal. If we want to stop something, if we want to stop this terminal, just press Ctrl C, whereas it will terminate this. And if this is terminated, and you won't be able to see the preview here. Okay, so though you have opened this one, now if you reload your application, it's going to refresh and reload your application. And if you see all the libraries that are being loaded in your terminal, you can observe this one. Okay, so what is the version of where UI5 is loading? 1.109 version is loading up for us, which is the latest version. And if you go here, everything is perfect. But if I come here and if I stop this one, I'm pressing Ctrl C here, so my terminal has been stopped. And sometimes you might be doing this mistake, and you might be ending up my application is not running, something like that. So that is the reason. And if you want to restart this one, and if you are familiar to run your commands, you can write npm start. So in this npm start, it's going to run or initiate all the libraries for us, and it's going to open our application in a new tab. And if you don't want to write that, and you can straight away go to your web app and click on preview application, and this preview application will give you load all the thing for you, and it's going to run the application in a new tab for us. Okay, and if you see, I have my custom button added onto the application right now. So if you click on this one, I see the action has been executed, and that is what even the logic has been implemented in this ListReport ext.controller.js. Okay, so this is how we add the custom actions onto the table. Okay, and if we want to, as we know that if we want to make this as a context dependent, now we know how we can go back and change this as a context dependent button. And similarly, and now you may ask, why do I need to create a custom action here, whereas I have an option to create using a wrap or BOPF based actions. So that is absolutely fine. You can definitely use BOPF or wrap based actions, but this custom button, whatever has been added on the UI side, is going to have is going to provide you the multiple advantages, that if you have any of the client side validations based on the context chosen, or it can be a static as well. So most of the cases it is going to be the context dependent. Rare cases it's going to be the static action. So static actions we might be using to navigate to any other application, then only we will be needing this static actions. Otherwise it's a straight away going to be the context dependent. So if it is going to be a context dependent, then client-side validations, if you want to do any of the client-side validation, such as if you want to avoid assigning the multiple roles in the backend and bring the user uh, ending up with a missing authorization or something like that, then you can straight away implement your JavaScript based code on your client side itself. And also the other feature here, we have freedom to call multiple OData services. So on premise or third party. So if we want to call any of the OData service based on the sales order number selected here. So if user has selected, if you see, whenever we make changes here, it's automatically running parallelly. The application is getting refreshed, and we can see the status as well here. So that is the benefit of this terminal. If we stop this one, it's not going to happen. Okay, if you stop this, sometimes you might need to stop. You don't want to run whenever you make changes. So if you know about when to run your application, and if you want to stop until then you can stop this terminal to load all the information. Okay, so okay, fine. So in this case, so if you want to know some information external, for example, if you are working on any of the logistics based or warehouse based applications in a supply chain, and in that case you might be needing particular information from other system, for example. So whether there is a stock available or for this particular order, included the materials and etc., the quantity, etc. So in those cases you might need to trigger or call the OData service to know the status. Okay, so if there is enough stock, then only you might need to get into the next page or next application. So in such cases, we will not be having any control at the BOPF actions, for example. So if we implement some BOPF actions, and unless you implement RFC connections and etc. inside and do it, this is the easiest way that connecting to the external system, whereas they also provide the OData communications. So that's how this OData, the client side custom actions are helpful in terms of Business Application Studio. And even these actions, adding these actions are available in WebIDE, but they are not a guided step. So we need to add all the code that Business Application Studio has generated for us. Okay, so and this is the alert that is reporting us. And if we want to change any description here, we can change this in description. So this is a silly one, that's fine. My custom action has been triggered. Okay, so that's fine. So now let me go back to my guide again. So guided development, let me right click on this, go to the end and open my guided development. And in the guided development, let us see. So let us have a look on a few um, other guides. So custom filter to the filter bar of a list report. And if you see this one in the, come on. So if you want to extend the filter bar by adding a custom filter field, so that means there is no picture available for this one, unfortunately. And if you start guide, it's going to directly give you the info, the code and etc. And this means it's going to be adding the additional filter on the filter bar here. So whatever we see here, editing status and sales order ID and etc. So as part of this one, if we want any additional custom field to be part of this screen, we have a guide for that as well. So it's going to ask us what is the fragment name. In this case, it's going to create a separate XML fragment for us. And in the fragment, it's going to add all these code in it. And we will be provided with the option of the binding and etc., where we haven't gone in detail of the binding on the UI5 application, but if we can bind the entity set and the field name here, key is going to be the field name. And if we are able to bind that one, it's going to display, for example, if you want to come up with these fixed options. So these are the fixed keys status. So these are the fixed values on this value help. So if you want to display something like this, then we can use this guide. We can add custom fields onto the filters. And similarly, if you see here, add a new column as a contact view. So what happens on this contact view? For example, if we have here the contact person, so we are trying to enable this as a hyperlink, and whenever user clicks on this one, and it shouldn't navigate to the next screen, but instead we should be getting information on a popover here. So like this chart that we see here. So it just pops over here and displays the further information. And for that one, if we want to have a separate popover to be enabled, and so if you see here, we have a example also here. So if once you click on this one, and this is what is going to open as a popover. Okay, and if we are looking to have similar requirement, then we can use this guide to achieve this one. And for this one, it might be requiring to have additional navigation property, having all this information. So person, first name, last name, full name, email address, and etc. And whereas that association has to be connected to this person or contact or supplier, whoever. So if we have that kind of association, then only we will be able to achieve this functionality, because it's not the name itself. Here the name itself is not going to hold any additional information, and whenever we click on this one, and the contact card, whatever we display there, that is called contact card. That contact card is going to call the association that we have been built onto our consumption view. So even in this one is available in Fiori elements as well. So for that one, we will be using the facets, the reference type, whatever the facet type we are going to use as a contact. We use that as a contact. Okay, so if we use that one and reference any of the association, the relevant association, it's going to display as hyperlink, and whenever user clicks on it, it's going to pop over like this with the detailed information. And okay, if I go back here and add a progress indicator column to a table. So this progress indicator, if you see here, these are all the um, progress indicators, if you see, and this is the progress indicator. If we want to add a progress indicator to the table based on some of the values, and we will be having the minimum and maximum values, and based on that it will be the progress indicator control will be displayed for us. And also this is called the rating indicator. So whatever we want, we can use this rating indicator or progress indicator, and there are a few more controls like a bullet chart, etc. So those charts also can be integrated or used inside this list report itself to represent the better volume or data analytics on this page itself. Okay, so here if you see the next one is rating indicator, that's fine, and smart micro chart, which I've just told you. If we want to include a chart, micro chart here, and if you see the relevant annotations also mentioned here, and UI.chart. So the same annotation will be used in BOPF based CDS views or transactional apps as well. The metadata extensions and relevant settings are specified in this UI.chart inside. So what is the axis, which axis, and what is the chart type, whether it is a bar chart or pie chart or donut chart, and etc. So they all can be configured using those information. So the reason we haven't looked all these things, or our data model must be built in such a way that, okay, so these are all the aspects we will be having in our requirements, and so that we need to ensure all those kinds of fields are included and the respective values also populated onto those respective columns of fields. So as we did not had all these information on our data model, so we couldn't try this one. But if you would like to go more further on this one, so you can explore this OData service that we have connected from ES5, and there are more OData services as well. And using those, we can easily able to experience all these ones. And here, add an action button here. And this action button is going to be different from this custom action. And this action button is going to be added wherever is a data field for action. And if you see, you can configure actions on the table toolbar, page header, or object page form. Annotation based actions to trigger backend call the OData services, for example, approve and etc. So this one basically we can what to say that okay, so if we want to match this to any of the function imports, so function imports is the one which we have seen in our OData service, which OData so gateway based project builder based actions. They are called function imports. And BOPF actions, if we have any such BOPF actions to be included as part of this action, then we can use this add an action here. Okay, and if you start guide, it's going to ask you where which page it is going to be, and this is going to be my where is this sales order type. And if you see, this is not showing us the entity sets, it is showing us the entity types and action. And this one fine. What is this one? A function import, there is no function import. And action button text, and we can give the action button text, we know that. And requires context, if you see here, so this is the same option that we see in our BOPF action. And inline action, and this is something similar that we have seen. The inline action, if we say, if we want to enable this customer column, complete column as an action, so as a hyperlink here, so in this case we will be choosing this as a yes. Okay, so let me requires context, yes, and let me give some text and see if there is anything supporting on that particular OData service. And action icon. Okay, so if you see here, customer and action, and here with the function import path, as we do not have any function import path available for this one, we don't have an option to give that information here. But if there was a function import available on that particular OData service, and it could have populated the function import name here itself. Okay, and okay, action cardinality, all this information has been grayed out because the OData service that we are using may not be having all those functionalities built into. And this item icon is again a optional parameter. And if you see, we have only one step. If I just go ahead and insert this guide, it straight away gone ahead and inserted. Come on, was it inserted? And these replace this information, I think we must be giving this information here, but let me see if that has been. No, I think this guide has not been inserted. It doesn't have the enough information, that's the reason, I guess, but let us see. So it's going to, no, it has not created any action for us. That's fine. So let us go further and add and edit filter fields. And you see there are a lot of guides available here. Okay, using extensions, add a custom column. So in this case, we have all these columns coming from OData service. But if we want to add any additional column onto this table, okay, which is going to be a custom column, then we will be choosing the custom column. Custom column guide here. And there are 3 steps. If you start the guide and it goes ahead, and table type, it is going to be the responsive. I'll tell you what these table types are. And the entity type, whatever the entity type we have at the moment. Where is it going to? Yes. So if you see here, the fragment, it is going to add as a column, and the column is going to be added with the column information for us. Okay, so the responsive table, whenever we talk about the responsive table, this one here is going to be the responsive table. And whereas if there is no further space for the remaining columns, and those columns will come down on the same row itself. But this is quite common if we have built any OData service, and if we wanted to generate application, and we might be facing this issue. But to overcome that one, it's going to be a changing table type. Change the table type, and if you type with a table type, you will see a guide here on the list report page. On the list report page, let me show you that one. Set the table type. Okay, table type of tables, and if you click on this guide, there is only one step, and start guide, and the list report which we are interested at the moment. And if you see here, we have the table type option here. So here we have analytical table, grid table, responsive table, and tree table. By default, it's going to be the responsive table that we are seeing here. And if we change to the grid table, and if you see, the table type is going to be grid table, insert the snippet, and the code has been inserted into the table of sales orders.json file here, pages. Okay, now the app is also getting refreshed, reloaded with that particular changed table type. Now, if you see the data here, the layout itself has been changed, and there is a scroll bar enabled at the bottom, if you see here, with all the columns that have been enabled as high, importance high. So if you click on go here, it's going to display the data, if you see, and this is there are some recommendations on the table how we use when we use these tables. Experience.sap.com, that is where we have seen the Fiori guidelines. And if you go there and look for this particular tables, where when to use a responsive table, when to use grid table, when to use analytical table, and etc., and they will give us the right guidance when to use which table. And if we use the analytical table, and there will be here next to this export to Excel button here, we will be seeing the a chart representation and etc., additional information. Okay, so if the CDSU or OData service that we connected, entity set that we connected to this table, having any graphical or chart relevant annotations, and then that's going to be picked up automatically and show us the relevant representation for us on the page. Okay, and I don't know if it's going to have the analytical features on this particular table for us. If you want me to try, I can try this analytical table, and maximum at only one table type can be assigned for the table, and we cannot assign the multiple table types, because we are going to display only one table on this. So let me go to the application here. So we have changed the application to the analytical table, but I don't see any difference. That is because the entity set or OData service that we have connected is not having any analytical relevant annotations built onto it. So now this is where we experience the real-time, the business application studio capabilities. And similarly, we have the object page annotations as well. And before going to the object page annotations, and one more feature I wanted to tell you that. So we have seen the flexible column layout in manifest.json file, which is automatically generated. So if you observe, we are not going to add any code manually on any of the files here, but instead let me type flex, I mean to say the flexible column layout. And if you see here, ListReport configure flexible column layout. So if you click on this guide, it has only one step and it will tell you what is the flexible column layout here. So 1, 2, 3. So this is what is going to be the flexible column layout. And I'm going to start the guide for this. And where is that one? Yeah, so as I have chosen the ListReport here already, and it came up with two options: column layout type begin expanded, and don't think that these are the sequence numbers 2, 3. This is two column layout type. So how it should display if it is a two column layout? So if it is a two column layout, begin expanded, and we can change this settings, and we can explore more. But right now, let us select this one and see how it is behaving, and it's straight away going to the next page, right? So that means we can understand that there is no flexible column layout built onto this one. Okay, so if it is two column layout, okay, begin expanded, I want this to be expanded and the object page to be a little smaller than the list report. And three column layout, when we have three column layout, if there is a further navigation from items, then we will be having a three column layout. So if we don't have any navigation from our object page, then there will be no three column layout. It will be only two column layout. So here we will be setting up how it should represent to the user in case if it is a two column layout and if it is a three column layout. So if it is a three column layout, I'm saying, okay, middle column should be expanded for me. So that's fine. So we can change it, and we can experience in our practice if we love to. So if you see, the code has been inserted right now into the manifest.json file. And now, if you remember, we have added this default two column layout and etc. manually when we were doing the development on Web IDE. So Web IDE list report application, and we have manually configured this two column layout. Okay, so let me go here and click on go, and now I'm on grid table. Let me choose the first one, and if you see, my begin has been expanded and the end or middle has been narrowed down. Okay, so like this, we can straight away go ahead and change our settings, the page settings, and things like that, and we can explore more on this guided development. So okay, the flexible column layout, we have seen the actions at toolbar level and the column level and etc. Flexible column layout, okay, define filter facet, and if we want to have any of the new filter facet also, then we can go ahead and configure our define filter facets. Okay, so now let me go here, and we have some other interesting feature available on this Business Application Studio. And if you right click on this web app again, and you will see a interesting option called show page map. And if you click on this show page map, it's going to display us what is configured for list report page and what is object page, and if there is further navigation and how that is being configured. And in the right side, if you see the title area, what is the title, and they are the I18N bindings. Okay, so they are all coming from I18N, and if you click on this one, and it will directly takes you to the I18 file, the respective text. Okay, so wherever you see, you don't need to worry. So okay, so I don't know from where this is coming from, and this is straight away coming from I18N internationalization file. And description is also same. And if you see here the flexible column layout on this list report, we have whatever we have configured: a 2-column layout, begin expanded, and a 3-column layout, we have mid expanded. So how this look like as well, there are pictures here. So begin expanded, how it will look like, and mid expanded, how it will look like, and etc. And this is how it represents in the real time as well if you run your application. And this flex enabled the key user adaptation. So user can change their change the descriptions once we delivered it, the personalization in terms of. So if we want user to enable or customize his screen according to him, then we can enable this as true. And preservation mode, not sure what this preservation mode is, and we have a lot of features like this. We can straight away go ahead and configure this one. Okay, so even I need to explore these couple of options a bit more. So once you go to the object page, and this is sorry, so this is for entire page map that we see here. And if we want to set up specifically for list report, and there is a pen icon available for us here. And if you go ahead and click on this for list page, and it loads the graphical view for us, what are all the things available on the list page here. So if you open the app parallelly, if you see here the filter bar is available here, and the filter fields. So these are the filter fields available here. So if we want to set some configurations for those fields, we can straight away go ahead and add some information to that one. And also, if we want to add any additional filters here, and we can go ahead and add additional filters here. So we will be choosing the path. What is the key? And not that one. So this includes true, sorry, excludes false. Yeah, and we will be giving the field name that we have in our sales orders entity set name, so that it goes and adds additional filter field for us. So yeah, sales order ID, and change that status. Are these three? Yes, that's correct. And if we move forward to the table, and in the table we have this straight table type setting as well, I think. Yeah, table type. So in the table type, if we don't want to use the guided development, and we know where to set these specific options, and we can straight away come here to the table, and we can change this to the responsive or grid table, whatever we wanted the table type to be. Okay, and here if you see the use export to Excel option, also there are all the settings available on this particular application as an option. If for some reason, if we don't want this option to be enabled for the user, and we can straight away come here and we can make this as false. Okay, use export to Excel option. And table personalization, it is again the same. The personalization, this is the personalization if user wants to choose more columns, whereas user can go ahead and choose these additional fields and load onto the table. But if we don't want to do that, then we can make that as false here. So button, and we can choose false option. And similarly, we have additional parameters along with multi-edit and etc. So we can configure all these things by going into the page map itself. And if you see the toolbar, we have the actions, and on the toolbar, come on, actions, and in the actions, sales order, sorry, what is this? No, actions are not included in this one at the moment, I think. Yeah, there are no actions coming from OData service, so that's the reason it is not showing, and also it's not showing the custom actions that we have added. That's fine. So in the column section, if you see here, we have the initial initial columns that have been displayed to us. So if we want to add something onto this one, so how this want to be displayed? Sales order ID, whether it needs to be displayed begin or end. So right now it is displaying on the begin, right? So the text alignment, and if we want some reason, if we want this to be displayed at the right alignment or center alignment, so we can straight away go ahead and make these styling arrangement available in the guide itself. Okay, and status is another additional column, and if I go ahead, go further, footer actions, there are no footer actions for us in this particular table. Okay, yeah. So now if we want to create any default variants as well, so we can go ahead and enable this variants for the users to choose. And these sales orders, show count, the title, all these things are being also handled from here. If you see enable auto binding, and this is whenever we click on go, it's going to bind automatically the columns, and that's what the auto binding. And if we want to enable that one, and this count and etc., they're all being handled in this guided development itself. So now let me go back to this one and to the object page. And in the object page, again, we have the same entity set has been assigned. So if we want to see what is available in this object page, and this is where we come and see about the information, what it has been displayed on the object page. So sections, so there are no properties on this level at the moment, so we don't have any anything available. And if we want to something, if some guide is not available, for example, so in this case for us it is not displaying the items here. So sections and etc., they are not being displayed here. So that is where our local annotations come into play, and we can go ahead and build the local annotations to accommodate those features. Okay, So this is about the guided development that is available on our business application studio. And from here, if we want to build our custom applications, and the custom applications, as we know that we will not be choosing the Fiori elements category at all, and whereas we will be choosing the custom UI5 application option. So that is where we start building the application. And if we decide to build the custom application, and we will be having a view folder available under our web app. And in this case, if we go to these annotations, and the other day it didn't load the service modeler. Let's see today. Open the service modeler. Not sure if it opens. Perfect. So there's service modeler, and these are all the entity types that are available in our OData service. So whatever the entity type we want to pick up, we can straight away go ahead and view the annotations that are available for that entity set. Transaction currency, UI dot data point, transaction currency, field group, admin data changes, and what is this one? SO annotation modeler. Where is this? Header info, line item, and this is the metadata. We see the metadata for sales order, admin data, sold to party, change semantic key. And if you click on this small icon, that code, it directly takes us to the annotations that have in the metadata file itself. And apart from that, where is this annotation file? Yeah, annotation modeler, admin data, gross amount, bill to customer. Let me go into the customer, for example. And if you look at this customer, and here, what is this? The customer qualifier is the UI dot field group. So the field group annotation has been added. And where is this? The value is going to be the sold to party. Importance type, again, it's going to be high importance. And the property value to customer address. So these are all the annotations built or generated based on the OData publish. I mean the CDS OData publish, how we define our annotations or metadata extensions on our CDSU. They're all going to be coming to this ListReport template. And from here, the framework will read all these annotations whenever the application is running on the runtime. Then it will automatically adjust this information onto the ListReport template layout wherever those annotations are applicable. Okay, so okay. And here we do not have any local annotations, and this is where we write the local annotations. We will come to that this a bit later. So apart from that, yes, we have a functioning UI5 application at the moment. We have changed this table type to the grid table. And let me go ahead and change this back to responsive, so that we can take that onto the cloud. That's fine. Okay, anyway, And if I go ahead and try to deploy this application onto BTP, for example, let me do that. Not this one. That's okay. So if we go to the package dot JSON, and in the package dot JSON, we will see the relevant keywords that we need to run for what is to build and what is to deploy and etc. So here we have not configured the deployment options. So if you remember, we skipped that deployment configuration step, but let's see configuring the deployment step right now. So I am quitting this terminal for now because I'm going to use this terminal for deployment configuration. And let me clear this. And I'm going to write the npm space deploy config. So come on, it's not npm. Yeah. Let me say npm RUI5. Let me say unknown argument. Oh, no. Run deployment config. Yes. npm run deploy config. So now it is going to ask us what is the platform that we are going to deploy. So here, please choose the right target. And right now, the cursor is on the simple a greater than mark is on ABAP. But I don't want to deploy this to ABAP server, which is an on-premise. Instead, I want to deploy this to Cloud Foundry environment. So I'm using my keyboard arrows up and down to move change between these two. I have chosen my Cloud Foundry and I'm pressing enter now. And now it's going to bring me that ABAP Cloud Thara ABAP instance and OData org. Nope. And that is ABAP Cloud. No, not that one. I don't want to do it on ES5 system, but these are all the destinations that we have available. And now I'm choosing my Thara Cloud. Add application to managed application router. Yes, add the router. That's perfect. So adding app to MTA config, so maintain, updating, yeah, create no change to the package. Okay, that's fine. So now it is executing all our tasks. So that's fine. We don't want to worry much. Okay, and what is this? Saying something. Package.json. Or let me do one thing. Let me build this one first. Annotations. Okay. So here, what I'm going to do, build npm run build. So it's going to build our application. And if you see here, once we execute the build command, it's going to create a dist folder inside inside this one. Okay, inside our project, and this is how it is going to be deployed back onto our system. If it is a BAS system, but let me yeah, build cf is going to be our build cf is going to be our command. Let me do that. npm run build mta, maybe mta archives. Yeah, so it's going to build the mta file for us. Let it build. Okay, and if you see here, we have mta archive file has been generated. And if you right click on this one, and we should see the deploy mta archive, and if you select that one, it's going to ask you some additional information. Yes, this is the Cloud Foundry that it is going to deploy. So let me sign into my Cloud Foundry account to make it successful deployment, and choose my development and apply. So if you see all the statuses here, so operation started, creating the framework itself. It runs a lot of commands to deploy this application onto the Cloud Foundry environment. It creates the destination services, etc. And our project name is SO maintain, and now it is creating the service keys and deploying the content right now for us. So it will give us the status whenever the application has been deployed. If you see here, process has been finished. So yeah, so process has been finished right now. That's perfect. So now let us go back to our Cloud Foundry environment. Let me go to my trial account. Yes, this is the trial account. And in here, let's look at, come on. And in this case, if you see the HTML5 applications, here we go. So we have our HTML5 application deployed onto our Cloud Foundry environment. So if you click on this one, this is what the URL that I was talking about. So now we do not necessarily need to have the Business Application Studio to run our application, as it is deployed onto the BTP environment. Now we have a standalone URL where our application will be running. So let it load. What happened? Let me see if there is some error. 404, all 404 errors. And the initial loading of metadata failed. SCPM SO maintain, maybe. Issue with the OData service, it seems. I see OData metadata initial loading of metadata failed. So it's not connecting to, it is not connecting to the destination that we have given. That's what is causing issue. And if you look at this, where is this URL? Yeah, so 403, it says forbidden. 403 is for forbidden. If you click on this URL, yeah, we have all the failures on this metadata. So metadata, OData service has not loaded. If you see 403 error, that means this service might not be enabled to use on this launchpad, I guess. Okay, and so let us try deploying the another application. Let's open our file here. So in this one, what that we have built is not this one, not ES5, Northwind project, for example. Not sure we were able to run this application the other day. Let me check that one. So yes, we have this preview application available. Start to run this one. Okay. Northwind orders, I think yes, we have reached up to this stage. So we have the data on this one. If that's okay, perfect. And let me go back to this one and open my guided development for this. And in the guided development, not in the guided development, and let me go to the page map. And in the page map, I would see the list report. The list report, I would like to choose some of the columns on this list report. Let me go to edit. Let me see if this allows me to add the columns. And if you see here, I have a plus button here, column extension. Oh, what is this? Oh, come on. This is the custom column. Nope, I don't want the custom column. And dialog fields, table, select all qualifier inline. Content. Please filter. Nope. Multi-edit toggle. Quick variant selection. One. Project selection. Northwind project. Not that one. And custom columns, not that one. Add and edit table columns. And the UI line item and start guide. Where is this? Maximize. Can't see that. Let me close this. Let me maximize this one. UI dot replace with property path. So I think we need to get this from web app, local service, metadata. And in the metadata, we will have the sales orders, order, entity type is order, order ID. And let me choose this one. Oh, sorry. So we can't add that one. Let me BAP CDS annotations. This one. Product orders, not that one. Order. A position, that's fine. There is no navigation. Property name is going to be the order ID. And the UI importance is going to be high. Okay, so this one, if we choose this one, it's going to be difficult, but entity type XML annotation is the better one because we are dealing with local annotations. So property and is going to be the customer, sorry, not, yeah, that's fine. Customer ID, UI importance is going to be the high, and come on, and add column. Let me add another column, customer ID, and let me add the order ID here, and this is also high importance. Add column. And now if you see, we don't have annotations, metadata annotations mentioned at our OData service level, but even for that, we are configuring our columns in our local annotations. So let me add column here again, order date. Now I'll stop after adding this one. Order date. Shipping region, employee ID, for example. So now I have configured my columns on the table. It has generated all these XML annotations for me. And if I go ahead and click on insert, it should go ahead and insert all these local annotations into my annotation file. So if you see here, annotations file, so it's going to insert into the annotations file. So that is what it has done. And if we want to repeat, or if we know the fields, and if we want to do our own, then we can straight away go ahead and edit these annotations file, so that so wherever you see in the SAP documentation, this is XML annotation and ABAP CDS annotation, where we have seen couple of places already, and this is where the XML annotations come into play. So ABAP CDS annotations, so they are written on the ABAP layer. Okay, so now let me go ahead, and if you see, my added fields have been already populated onto my table here. So now I do not need to go to the personalization and choose the list of fields. By default, I have given set of fields to be displayed here, and if I click on go, it directly goes and fetches the information from OData service for me. And the navigation, and as there is no annotation or metadata extension, metadata relevant annotations exist at OData service, and these navigations, nothing, everything we have to configure using our local annotations. Okay, so that's fine. So I would like to stop here for today, where we will deploy this application onto BTP Cloud Foundry, and we will register that on WorkZone. Okay, WorkZone as a tile, and we will see how that goes from there. Okay, thank you for today.